What is up everyone, and welcome to some more F1 23 League Racing. We're here for the final round of the Streamers & Co VRL, and we're going to be racing at Abu Dhabi, the place where all the greatest showdowns in the history of Formula 1 have taken place. A few key storylines that you might be interested to know regarding the championship here. If Dustin Bruins fails to score points today, and I also outscore Ryan McLean by I think 4 points or something like that, then I will finish third in the championship, which means I will get the cash reward for doing that. Likewise, if Dustin is out of the points and Ryan I think gets like a top 4 finish, he could potentially finish P3 in the championship and get a cash prize for that. And Dustin, who's currently in third, if he gets P3 or higher today, actually no, I think it's P2 or higher, then he can jump up to P2 in the standings, because P2 is currently being held by Lewis, and he's not racing today. But yeah, anyway, moving on to the race itself. You can see we're here in quali. My first flying lap wasn't particularly good, and I was up by quite a lot going into my my second flying lap, but then I accidentally cut the track when we were about 5/10 up. And yeah, disappointingly, that meant this lap didn't stand. I finished it just to find out what time it would have been, and it would have been a 1:23.2, which is pretty good. It would have been enough to put us P5 for now, I think, but at the moment we're currently all the way down in P9, which isn't great, but yeah, hopefully we can find a bit more improvement. And indeed, you can see as we come into the final sector, we actually set the fastest middle sector of anyone over the course of this lap, so that's boding well for us. We are currently about 9/10 up as we come into the final sector. It looks like we're going to probably improve by over a second. If we can get it right through here, don't cut the track this time, and you can see we are over a second ahead of our best. So we're going to be into the 122s here, hopefully, provided we don't stuff up this final corner. And indeed, we don't. So let's see, what kind of time is this going to be across the line. It's a 122.6, and it's good enough initially for P2, but let's see what times other people do. You still got to wait for Dougie to cross the line. There's the AlphaTauri of Mint Block on his way, the Williams of AM. You can see Mint Block does not improve ahead of me. He's just marginally behind, actually. Dougie does improve up to a 122.0. Very impressive time from him. Yeah, we're keeping our eye on Ryan here, who is currently in P5, but if he improves, he will almost certainly jump us and move himself up into P3. And then we've also got the Williams of AM, who could potentially upset the balance slightly as well. But let's see what kind of time Ryan is going to do here as he comes to the line. He doesn't improve, so I think we're going to maybe hold on to this P3. Let's see what AM does. He's crossed the line, and did he beat us? Let's find out. He did. Okay, so it's P4 for us as we make our way through qualifying here in the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Not quite what I was hoping for. When I initially saw we were P2, I was wondering maybe we could hold on to it. But I don't know if that lap I did had 2 more tenths in it, to be honest, at least not for me personally. So I'm not too disappointed with that. You know, we out-qualified Antoine, who's there in P7, so I'm pretty happy with that. And yeah, we'll see what we can do in the race. I'm pretty optimistic about this one. Like I said, we need a top 3 finish here realistically. So I've got to try and jump one of AM and Captain Liam off the start. It should feasibly be possible. We'll see what we can do. I'm having a look what strategies other people are on. Looks like quite a few people are going to be trying it out with softs, and so I said to myself, okay, well maybe I could try with the softs as well. And so we're going to do a soft medium. I'm going to pit around lap 8, and we're going to see roughly what time we can achieve with that. It says it will be a little bit slower, but I don't know. I believe that we might be able to make some overtakes and then hold on to those positions if we're on those soft compound tires. We'll see what happens as we get ready to go here at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix for the final round, as the lights come on and the lights go out. And we've gotten away well compared to AM there. We're already up into P3, piling some pressure on Captain Liam. We can't move too far to the inside, and that is going to allow AM to try and go for the move back around the outside of me. I actually get on the curb a little bit there, and that causes me to get a little bit of oversteer, which almost sends me into a spin. That could have been very bad. That could have been race over for me right then and there, as Ryan, you can see, is diving up the inside there. And not only is Ryan diving up the inside, but Antoine goes for a move here as well. And you can see he's all the way up into P4, having started P7. That's a ridiculous getaway for him. And now I think he's trying to pile some pressure on Ryan here as well as he moves to the inside. Is he going to make the move stick? I think he is. Yes, he is, as he goes up the inside. Hold on, they're still going wheel to wheel. And he forms the switchback on Ryan McLean up into P3, and that is one Haas on the podium, and hopefully I will be joining him there very, very soon. But you can see, meanwhile, Captain Liam has had a very good getaway, and he's actually putting some pressure on Dougie Falcons at the beginning of this race, which isn't easy to do. Dustin all the way down in P13. He had a disqualification in qualifying for something which wasn't really his fault, but yeah, it was disappointing for him nonetheless. So that is Dustin down, and we're around, and we've been hit up into the air. I don't know what's happened there. Looks like someone's broken their front wing. I think it was Mint Block. I think AM was the initial contact as we went round, and then Mint Block had nowhere to go, crashed straight into the side of us, and broke his front wing. We were very lucky not to get damage there. It looks like someone else has damage coming into the pits here. It's Jermaine. Very disappointing for him because he started on the hard compound tyres, which means that he probably will have to do a 2-stop now. He can't go on a set of hards. There's a Ferrari spinning round there. What's that about? That was Doddy. Round. No idea what's going on with that. I think Mint left the session, but I think it was just a random disconnect by the looks of things. So yeah, I was a bit worried when I initially saw that he was he had rage quit from the session. But yeah, no issues regarding that kind of thing. But anyway, as we move on to lap 3 now, this is, you can see that we are in P7. We've managed to make our way through roughly, but Dustin has also started making his way through the field a bit more than we have. And yeah, here he comes. He's going to be no doubt trying to pass some pressure on us sooner rather than later to make this move up into P7. You know, he's got to get a P2 finish here today if he wants any hope of getting that constructor's victory. Driver's victory. I don't know what he's talking about. And it's not even victory, it's a P2. But yeah, it will feel like a victory, I'm sure, given that he only started racing in the league about halfway through the season. So yeah, extremely dominant form from Dustin, and we actually make a bit of contact there as he muscles his way through and up into P7. But yeah, I wasn't going to be able to keep him behind forever, and yeah, very solid performance from him. Let's see if he can continue making his way through the field, keep an eye on his progress as the race unfolds. But for me personally, with Dustin out of the way now, I'm sure he'll start to break away. I'm kind of in a bit of a no man's land. We've got Mark a little bit further up the road, but I'm not really making any inroads on him as we move a couple laps forward. You can see that the gap just isn't really coming down to him, and yeah, that's particularly disappointing because these are people who I typically view myself as having a little bit more pace than. But yeah, on this occasion, it's just not something I seem to be particularly good at. The tyres are overheating for me a little bit, so I'm not sure if that's playing into it. You know, the tyre's starting to go off as well. It is, of course, a fairly high tyre deg circuit, I would say. So the soft's not doing amazingly well here. And at the end of lap 5, actually, Mark comes into the pits, and he gets incredibly lucky there because the virtual safety car is deployed at the exact same time that he comes into the pit lane. That's a retirement from AM, who actually was having a terrible race after that initial moment of contact between me and him. Yeah, you can see that yeah, it's just didn't work out for him. I think that's his 4th race that he's taken part in this league, and failed to finish any of them. Really disappointing for him, but yeah, hopefully if we do another season of this, we'll be able to bounce back. I get on the throttle a little bit early there and actually had to slow down to make sure I didn't get a drive-through penalty, and yeah, we just about avoid it, but it does mean that we have a suboptimal restart, which means that I'm sure that the likes of Mark and some other people are probably going to close a little bit of a gap to me. Meanwhile, the people up in front are going to probably pull away a little bit. It is what it is, but yeah, nonetheless, a little bit frustrating. We move on now to lap 8, and we're coming into the pits. So we're going to be putting on the set of medium compound tyres to the end. The gap to NWE in front is massive. The gap to Mark behind is not small enough to get out ahead of him from the pit stop phase. We'll see what happens with Jermaine with his 3-second penalty and the fact that I know that he's got to be stopping again in this race. I feel like he shouldn't fight us too hard, hopefully, but we'll see whether that rings true or not. And yeah, we should be coming out, I think, in P9 here by the looks of things. Jermaine will be getting ahead of us just about. It will be pretty close, but I think he's just about going to have the edge here. We'll see what the gap is looking like as I come out of the pit lane. It looks like it's going to be about 1.5 seconds roughly. Should be fairly easy to close that down on someone who's on 8-lap-old mediums, you would think. Especially with the best will in the world to Jermaine. I feel like maybe in these races I do have a little bit more pace than him. on average. So I felt like the only race I really remember having a good battle with him was Qatar, where he did really seem to be on my pace. But Qatar is a race where I have a very shockingly small amount of pace, I would say. So yeah, that is not too much of a surprise as we make our way into the final sector again, and you can see clearly I have a lot more pace than him. We've already caught him by a second on that lap, and yeah, we really just have to try and clear him ASAP. Thought about going around the outside there, couldn't quite find the move, and now we're going to see if we can go for a better exit than him out of the final corner to get him on the run down to turn 1. And you can see that we are wheel to wheel going through this first corner here, and that is going to allow us to make the move stick, and we are up into P8. So that is a fantastic overtake for us, and yeah, hopefully we can continue making our way through the field. Captain Liam having been in P2 at one point, all the way down in P7 now. So yeah, whatever strategy he was running, clearly not working out for him very well. Meanwhile, it is Dougie far out in the lead, followed by Ryan, and then I believe it is Dustin in P2. But Ryan had yet to pit, actually, as it turns out. I don't know whether Dustin had or not. So yeah, Dustin running in P2 at the moment. That's exactly where he needs to be, but we'll see whether he still needs to pit or not, and we'll keep an eye on his progress through the field. But yeah, it's an interesting race for everyone right now, and we'll see where we can come out once everyone else is pitted, whether we can make any more positions or not. I'm not sure about Mark. Obviously, he pitted on lap 5, but he did go onto the hard compound tyre, so there's a chance that they might be able to go to the end. We'll see whether that's the case or not. Lap 13, Captain Liam is actually disconnected from the race. This was really, really disappointing for him because he firmly believed that he was running in a really strong position, and what happened was he had that glitch where everyone else disconnects from the race, and that's what it says for you, but it's actually you who's disconnected from the race. He didn't realise that's what happened, and so he just thought like there was some weird glitch with the lobby or something, and so he, you know, in our Discord afterwards, he was like, oh, what happened, guys? You know, I won the race and everyone was ghosted. What happened? And I was like, oh yeah, you disconnected. And he was like, oh, so I've just been driving around for 10 laps by myself. And I was like, I'm really sorry to tell you this, but yeah. So yeah, that was very, very disappointing for him. Could have been a very strong points finish, but in the end, it allows us to make up one more position. And now we're closing in on Mark, who just had some kind of incident at the chicane. I'm not sure if it involved NWE or not. But yeah, in any case, we're closing him down by quite a lot now. 1.8 seconds to the car in front. We'll see if we can close this gap very, very quickly and try and make the overtake as quickly as we possibly can. I don't think we're going to be able to do much better than P6 here by the looks of things. NWE is like 8 seconds up the road. He's on the soft compound tyres as well. I think the majority of the front runners are either on the soft or the... some of them might be on the hards, I'm not sure. But either way, I think that it's going to be... it's going to be pretty difficult to close them down now, as yeah, Dougie is very comfortably in the lead, and then it is Ryan P2, Antoine still running in P3, and then Dustin in P4 at the moment. So Dustin needs to make up a couple positions, but he is pretty close to the back of those two guys, so let's see whether he can make that move or not. And in the meantime, we're going to try and get ahead of Mark here at the hairpin. Not quite, we weren't quite close enough. With the DRS, this should be very trivial, and then I'm hoping that we can time this right so we can get some DRS from Doddy, the lap car here, in the following DRS zone, which should prevent Mark from re-overtaking us, which would be good because yeah, despite the fact that he's on older, more worn out tyres, there is still very much a chance that he could catch us in the straight here. So we'll see what we can do. We do get the DRS. My plan worked out nicely here, and it should be fairly easy to break away from Mark now, I think, as Doddy's AI gets out of the way, but it doesn't matter because he's ghosted. We can just pass straight through him, and yeah, that is us up into P6, and that is probably where we will finish the race, I imagine. NWE 10 seconds up the road. Mark did pit again in the end for some medium tyres, so yeah, that is going to be there's going to be 22 seconds behind us. He will be closing us down probably quite quickly, I imagine, as our mediums start to go off a little bit, and he's obviously on much fresher mediums, but I don't think he's going to be able to close down 20 seconds in 3 laps. I think we should be fine in that regard, and yeah, pretty straightforward as Dougie sets the fastest lap there. You can see he's still comfortably leading the race from Dustin now, who has made his way up into P2. So as things stand, he will be able to hold on to the P2 in the Drivers' Championship, and that will be a fantastic result for him. Nice extra cash bonus for finishing there. And then yeah, I think that will mean that Lewis Crazy will be the third place driver in the Drivers' Championship. Dougie, having wrapped it up several races ago at this point, he's just racing for fun at this point, and still winning. You know, I think he won in Brazil as well, if I remember correctly. So yeah, very, very solid result from him. And actually, Dustin is fairly close to him now. I'm not sure. I think that's Dustin behind Dougie. I could be wrong. We'll see whether that rings true or not. But yeah, either way, it seems like the car in front is pulling away quite far from the car behind as I keep my eyes on the minimap. You know, this was what I was paying attention to in the race as well, because there wasn't really much more to talk about. It seems like maybe one of the Aston Martins has run out of fuel. I'm not sure which, but I think maybe that might be Dustin in front. Then we'll see. Either way, he's going incredibly slowly, and I'm not sure what that's about. But we'll see what's going on with Dougie and Dustin there, as one of the Aston Martins is rounding the final corner now, and he crosses the line, and it is Dustin. I think he had a penalty because the thing hasn't popped up yet, and as Dougie and Ryan cross the line, Dustin is going to take the victory here from last on the grid. That is an absolutely inspired comeback. Dougie in P2, Ryan in P3, Antoine takes P4, and his NWE in P5. And then we are going to round at the final corner in our final race of the season to take P6 at the flag. So yeah, a decent result for us. Obviously, I was hoping for a little bit more, but after that initial contact with AM, I think maybe we would have been able to manage one more, maybe two more positions here. You know, I did seem to have a little bit more pace than Antoine, generally speaking, but it's always hard to tell with these things. So yeah, I'm not too disappointed with that result, and we will see whether that puts us any higher in the Drivers' Championship or not. As Mint crosses the line now to be the final guy to finish in this season of the Streamers & Co VRL, and yeah, that is a P10 finish for him. So what that meant in the end is that we actually we jumped Ringy in the Drivers' Championship because he wasn't racing today. And that put us up into P5 overall. So it was a decent result for us. Not quite what I was hoping for. It would have been nice to get one of the cash prizes. But yeah, that is Dustin taking his second victory of the season as Dougie comes home in P2 and Ryan completes the podium in P3. And yeah, the championship standings as they were, I can actually get them up real quick. You'll hear me clicking my mouse, but yeah, if I get the document up, it was Dougie Falcons on 233 points over these 12 races, followed by Dustin on 126, Lewis on 116, Ryan on 108, myself on 95, Ringy on 93, and then Phil on 81, and then you had Blitz, Anto, and Mark completing the top 10 there. So yeah, that was the first season of the Streamers & Co VRL. It was an incredible season in my opinion. Really, really fun. I had lots of great battles, a couple of unforced errors from my side, a couple of annoying incidents in a couple of races, particularly Silverstone comes to mind, where I was taken out through no real fault of my own. Netherlands as well, where again I was just a passenger in a crash that had nothing to do with me. But yeah, we're planning on doing a season 2 of this, and I'm sure that I'll be making videos for that as well, so I look forward to that. Hopefully we'll have something to announce soon. But yeah, that is going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this first season of the Streamers & Co VRL. If you did, make sure you like and subscribe, and hopefully I will see you very soon.